This is really a relatable panel. Just asking a couple of the guys in front of us here about how they got to where they are in their careers, how that progression happened, how they found themselves in the parts of the industry they're in. So I'm going to introduce everybody one by one. Today's panel for the How Did I Get Here is going to be moderated by Ken. Ken is to the left here. Hello, Ken. Hi.
Hello.
Whoa, hello. Hello, Ken. Ken is from Barista Magazine and is going to be moderating the panel. Then next up, you've had a lovely chat with Michaela today, although I will introduce again. So Michaela Gerard from Coffee Collective.
Hello, hello.
Then moving on, we've got fourth in the line. There you are with your cap on, I see you. This is Gabe Smentek from Onyx Coffee Lab, all the way from America.
Hello.
And then we've got from Brunn Gastronomy, we have Junior Vargas. From the BG's very own working group and our latte art champion, of the chair of the latte art committee. That was
Throwdown committee.
fantastic. Sorry, I've got to get that right. Agnieszka Rozwieska.
Almost.
Almost. I was so close. And last but not least, our dearest Kim Stallman from the SCA Europe.
I've got fans.
All right, guys. So Ken, over to you.
Thank you. Here we go. Thank you again. It's my pleasure to be here today, not just attending a European Barista Camp, which is a fantastic event, but to participate moderating this panel. How did I get here? This is not the first time this panel has been held. It's a very popular one, and I think part of the reason that it's very appealing is highlighted by Yannis's presentation earlier. I really found it interesting when he presented the typical look at the professions in coffee, and it was a standard pyramid, and then he inverted it and said, actually, look at yourself at the bottom of this pyramid and look at all the space there is to grow into. Because I think what we'll find is that's actually how people progress in coffee. I'll be interested to find out, looking at our panelists here, how many people, when they started, thought they would still be in coffee and joined a coffee job thinking this is going to be my profession forever. So I think the way to start this is to do a brief introduction of yourself, tell us what you do now and how long you've been in coffee, and then we'll come back around and sort of explore each person's story. Start to my left, Michaela.
All right, so I've been working with coffee for 7 years in total, and as a barista until last week. Actually, I've been as a barista only, or partly, and the last 3 years I've also done human resources at the Coffee Collective. Started from 1 day a week to now last week going full time.
Last week is the first time you've been a full-time coffee employee. Otherwise, it was only a part-time job?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Hi everyone, I'm Junior. I'm originally from Peru, but I'm based in Vienna. Closer? Oh, better. I'm based in Vienna. I cannot say that I'm working for a couple years in a coffee because I was born in a coffee farm. So coffee was always in my blood. I started with the specialty coffee for about 8 years probably, and started doing the courses probably 5 years ago. I moved to Europe a year ago, and I started traveling around Europe looking for coffee shops, specialty concepts, and I have already 2 coffee shops. One in Peru and Lima is already 3 years open, and one in Vienna for 5 months. So I have the chance to travel in Europe, and I'm not missing any events from the ACAE, like last Barista Camp and this Barista Camp and the collabs, and so I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I got one. I'm Kim. I'm based in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, and I've been in coffee for 8 years now. I've done a little bit of everything, but at the moment I work for the SCA as the Europe representative. So yeah.
Hello. I've been in coffee since 2003. I'm really old. Currently, I'm the director of stuff at Onyx, which is sort of like a joke title for I do what needs to be done. And currently, it's I do like website stuff, and I help develop our merchandise. I'm also on the BGA Executive Council and like to judge barista competitions.
Okay, so I thought that I'm the oldest one, but you're older. I'm in the coffee industry for 10 years, but before that I was supposed to be a football manager. It didn't work out, so I'm on this couch now. I don't have actually a job title. You can say that I'm a professional competitor. I just compete for a living actually now. That's why I'm the director of Lateral Showdown Committee, like chair. And I own my own company, and I do more like freelance stuff. So I do trainings, I do presentations, I do shows, I do everything they want me to do with coffee.
Fantastic. So again, we have a variety of backgrounds, nations represented, and also time in coffee, more than 10 years, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years. How many of you work today for the same company that you started with? That's important to notice, right? Like this is typical of careers in coffee. So I'm curious then, what was your first job in coffee?
My first job was a barista in an espresso bar, 2006. I had never liked coffee before when I started, so I had to kind of taste what I was serving, and slowly I got really into it. Was like a high school part-time summer job, how it started.
My first job with the coffee machine probably was in cruise ships. I was working for 5 years there, so it was a
Cruise ship.
cruise ship. Yeah, no, it was an American line. I think it was. I didn't even know if it was coming from the coffee. The water was like just filtered from the salty water from the sea, and I wasn't good even though in latte art, so it was just Italian style. But it was quite good to learn.
I don't know how to do like Italian style cappuccino, like the typical Italian style.
It's better if you don't know it, so you just do it. Right?
Yeah,
Just
that's-
it's
that-
the
I
easiest
think
way to
that's the
explain.
secret. Okay, cool.
Yeah, my first coffee job was when I was a student, and in uni. I also didn't really like coffee that much, so I was talking to my friend who was working as a barista, and she said, if you're looking for a job, you should totally apply for a barista job at a coffee company in the Netherlands, which is like the biggest specialty coffee chain. And I said, will I get like coffees with whipped cream for free? She's like, yeah, totally. Sprinkles, syrup. I was like, oh, I'm in, down for this, yeah.
I didn't drink coffee at all when I started, and I felt like it was kind of obligated to. I like to say that I wouldn't hire me now, because I'd want everyone to at least like coffee. And I worked there for 11 years, and I didn't get into coffee until like 5 years into the job.
That was not at Onyx.
No, that was at a place in New York City called Orange Daily Roast.
Okay, so my first job was in a kind of a Polish version of Starbucks. It was on the railway station, so I get up at 4 a.m. to start work at 5 a.m. But it wasn't my choice. I didn't want to go for work. My parents actually forced me to do it because the summer before we were lying on the couch and watching TV, and my dad says, either you go to work or you have to move out. And I drink coffee, instant coffee, just not to sleep because I was a nerd and I wanted to have a higher grades. So that's the only reason I drank coffee then.
That's great. So not only do you represent the best in specialty coffee today, you didn't even drink 3 of you didn't drink coffee. No.
No.
But again, to me, that's every story in coffee is atypical, but yet that's still a typical coffee or typical coffee story. It sounds like the panelists, and I can include myself here, had no idea the trip that coffee could take you on. So I'm curious, is there a particular event or a time when you had a coffee or something happened in one of those first jobs where you realized that there was more to coffee, more than sprinkles and whipped cream, that could take you further or that really sparked your imagination?
Yeah, for me, it was at that same coffee shop where I started, where a colleague had the Scott Rowell book, the barista one, and he showed it to me like when we were having beers after work. And I was like, whoa, what is this? And then kind of sort of realized that there was this mystery behind it that I definitely didn't understand. And then the same guy, Jonathan, he took me to the Barista Championships. And I went there with a bunch of my colleagues, and after a few hours, they'd all left, but I was still there, just like kind of drooling at what was going on. And yeah, a year later, I was competing myself. So.
Like for me, it was it was just the person that I met there. Like in every coffee chain, you need to get this training, so you need to like learn all the ingredients in the sandwiches, drink all this coffee with sprinkles and syrups. And my coach was actually passionate about this work, and because I was losing my football career then, so I just got into the subject. And then I met my former business partner, and he showed me the latter stuff. He made a crappy Rosetta and a bear, and I said that, oh, he's showing off. And after that, I started to watch YouTube, and I competed first time in an internal championship 4 months later. I didn't do any good stuff. Next year, my siphon blew up on stage, but I just keep coming for the competition, and after hundreds of days, I finally leave the job, and this was actually a break, because we wanted to open a coffee shop, and for 2 years we couldn't manage to do anything. But I think that I stayed because of the person, not because of the job or the coffee or anything like this. Just the person drew me to the industry.
I got into it. I was managing one of our stores in Grand Central Station in New York City for like 5 years, and my assistant manager was tapped to become the company trainer. And then so I sort of started getting into coffee out of jealousy, and I didn't like that he was doing something that I didn't even know what he was doing, but I wanted to learn more. And that was kind of how I started. And then I went to I judged at a barista competition, I guess like a year or so later.
Actually, also had a really good person who was welcoming me to the company I started at. Was really looking at the grounds and how it's gonna, how the espresso is gonna run. We were just looking at the color, no weight, but you know, you start somewhere. So I felt like there was a lot of attention to detail and appreciation for the product, and I think that's where it started. I had a gap in coffee, and I did some hotel and other stuff, and then later on I had an amazing cup of coffee that opened up my eyes, where I kind of got back to, wow, it can taste epic.
I think I have many moments, but one of the memorable moments where I started with this as a professional, as a business, I think it was in Vienna when I attended to one coffee ball, like kind of this very famous ball, and it was coffee. And when they presented all the big coffee companies owner, like some names very famous there, like for tradition, and I saw them coming in, and everyone was there, more than 6, they were really old, 60, 70, 80 probably, with a young wife. And I said, I'm not going to wait until I'm this age to open one coffee. So I think that was the moment when I started, and I saw there many specialty coffee shops as well in Vienna. So I think it was the beginning of my career.
I'm curious, listening to those replies, a person played a role in almost all of your stories. And I'm curious, was that person a mentor? And the role that mentorship has played with you as your professional development? And if you are in turn becoming mentors to other people joining specialty coffee?
I'm still looking for a mentor. So if you guys know anyone, I never had one, but I try to force my mentorship onto other baristas. And I'm kind of joking, but it has helped when I see somebody who has an interest. I try to steer them in their direction and point them out to opportunities, whether it's like the Barista Guild or judging or any local coffee throwdown, just to get to go and have fun and meet some of the other people like you.
Like for me, the person wasn't my mentor. It was just the person that dragged my attention to coffee and showed me that it might be something more than just brewing coffee and steaming milk, because railway station is actually a latte factory. You just do lattes and that's all you're doing all the time. And people are not even taking their own coffee, so you have to run with their coffee and take the other one back. But the person wasn't my mentor. And then I think I had one 2 years ago when I met my coach. This was the person that actually, she made me leave my comfort zone. And that was the moment when I actually started to get some success in this industry. But for now, she left me. Like she has a different people to make some great success. But I hope I'm waiting for the person that will make me be more than I am now, like as a barista, and not only as a competitor, but also to drag my attention to different stuff, like leaving comfort zone from latte art, from milk, and go to more brewing, more cupping, and maybe even more for a green coffee. I'm just looking for a person that will see that I'm able with my mind to get it and just kick me off there. Like you have to kick me off. I'm the person that hates the stage. I doesn't like to be on stage. I don't like public performances. So this is coming out of the comfort zone for me is the thing that you need to drag me to.
You don't like public performance,
No.
and you're a professional competitor.
Yes. That's why I'm good at it.
Okay. It's the power of coffee.
Yeah, I think I've definitely had several mentors during my career. I mean, that guy that showed me the Scott Rao book, right? He definitely gave me that first push. But then following that, I mean, yeah, I've had several people. He helped me during competition as well. Other people were there for me as well. And I mean, like Anne-Marie, for example, Anne-Marie Timas, who also works for the SCA, she is like the one that pushed me to volunteer at events and who really taught me how important it is to engage with the community. And yeah, it's kind of like a push why I'm here now. That so yeah, I guess that she's also sort of a mentor. Yeah.
A mentor. I think I'm still looking as well at mentor. If I'm here, it's because I just took the opportunities and I was so in with the previous talk with taking opportunities, and I think if I will have a mentor, I will be a little bit more further. But now, if I'm here, it's just because I took the right opportunities and I like to listen to people. That's all.
Like I also think that the mentor is actually the person you're the most angry about when you work with. Like this is your mentor. If this is the person that you actually can do the worst thing to you and you still like this person, this is your mentor. This is the person like that. And my coach was like this. I could like scream at her like for 2 hours, like that this is a bad idea and I'm not gonna do it this way. And she was like, yeah, okay. And after 1 hour, I was calling her, okay, we're gonna do it your way. You see.
For me, also maybe don't have a very clear mentor, but in the places that I've been really enjoying working at, the people have been very welcoming, focused on details, setting up a level that everybody is expected to, but also encouraged to get. And there's a lot of what do you call it? The way you work yourself that shows for the others how it should be done.
Leading by example.
Exactly. And that's worked for me really well, because then I can respect my colleagues a lot, and I wanna aspire to be like they are, or go farther.
I'm curious, do you recognize within yourself a certain characteristic that coffee has brought out in you that you have used to advance in your profession?
I'm an introvert, so the coffee the coffee makes me at some point going out of this comfort zone, and without this industry I think I'm doing a PhD on economics actually, so I would be an accountant right now if not in coffee, so I would be the most boring person ever. So that's what coffee gave me, like more self-confidence, so I can actually go on. What?
Just giving you personality. Otherwise, you'd be the
I
boring
gave
person.
the personality, exactly. That's the word I was missing. I just didn't want to say it out loud. But yeah, I actually gain a personality and blonde hair. That's the two things I gained from coffee.
Well, just to take it up for the accountants, my roommate is an accountant. He's very nice. Great personality. Yeah, for me, I don't know. I'm a pretty social person. I think my favorite thing in the world is making
McDonald's.
friends. And didn't make a friend there, but I think to really advance in the coffee community, it is really important to have mentors, but also just people that support you and that you support, and to be engaged with the community. And I think that's really cool, that I actually can just make friends for a living, sort of, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's great.
I also am kind of an introvert sometimes. It's weird. But I'm definitely not good in front of new people. And so I had to, in order for me to get where I am, I needed to go out there and introduce myself to people. And
Never do that.
Yeah. It's hard. And but I've had to get over that. And then also I've had to, hopefully I've grown, but become a better manager, and actually control my own anger. You know, sometimes it can be frustrating being a manager, and to not take that out on your employees and realize that maybe it was something that I did wrong, maybe I didn't train them well enough, or I created an environment that would allow this to happen.
I think I would agree on that kind of, maybe letting go of some what is that word now? I lost it. A defense mechanism, and not being, somebody commenting on the coffee and how it tastes at the beginning, feeling you're hurting my feelings. It's me in the cup, but then realizing that it's not. So maybe letting go of that, and also what you said, Kim, about the community. It's pretty amazing to be able to feel like you belong to a greater community, and it's not just people on this side of the world being the baristas, but then being able to meet the producers. Maybe we have a lot of things that are not alike, but we have a common interest in some way, and I appreciate their work. So it's an interesting way to feel belonging.
My turn? Yeah. I think from coffee, I don't know, it really changed my life since I started with specialty coffees. Give me a lot of opportunity to travel, and there was last barista camp one speech where I was really into as well. When I don't remember the girl, she was a power, and she said there are baristas that they are trainers, they are roasters, they are managers, and they're in the position where it's a jungle gym, something like this. And I realized myself in this box where you're doing everything, but you're not good in none of them. I think after 1 year, I realized that I'm really good in front of the bar, and I'm good in front of the bar just with 1-2 customers, but not like in this situation with maybe 20, 30 people in front. But I think my personality in the coffee business is more in the bar than in, I would say, roasting or training. I did some training, but I'm okay, I think, with this.
So you've all been working in coffee more than 5 years. When you got your first job working as a barista at the train station or wherever, did you think, I'll probably be working in coffee for 5 years when I start this job? And where is your perspective now? Do you foresee yourself leaving coffee in the future, or do you think you found a place where you could work until we all die?
I was supposed to work there for 3 months. It was supposed to be a summer job, only summer job, because my dad told me that I have to move out if I don't take it. And I was supposed to go back to study. And I did go back to study, but I never left the job. And after a year, it was fine. After the second year, it was fine. After a third year, I got this like crisis of the one spot. So you have to change it. And this was the moment when I actually did change it. And then I didn't have a job for a year almost. But I never thought that I will be in the place where I am now. It is kind of surprising. It still surprises me what I'm doing and what I will do. And actually, I can't wait what will happen in December, because my calendar is full till December. So I still don't know what's gonna happen in December. But this kind of life we have in coffee just gives you the unexpected stuff. Like, you never know who's gonna call. If it's gonna be a instant coffee offering you a PR contract for a huge millions of dollars, they never call that. Actually, they did call me, but never called back after I said how much money I want for that. It can also be like a small coffee shop in a small village that they just admire your work, but you're actually not doing anything special for them, but they just admire your work and they will give your last money for you to come there and make like 5 cappuccinos for their customers every day. And you just go there for free because, you know, for them it's something huge and for you it's just like a car drive. So that's why I actually love my job and I love this kind of life. And I wouldn't expect that people will admire me and ask me for autographs on the covers of magazines.
I haven't asked you yet.
Yeah, but actually one of the guys did already.
Yeah, I don't know. I committed quite early on the coffee life. I got the tiny tattoo. Luckily, it's not too big. So if I ever decide to change, yeah, see, it's tiny. I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I'll be actively working in coffee for the rest of my life, but it'll definitely always play a role. I've made too many really close friends to really lose touch with it, I think. So I can't imagine being without the people continuously. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll just have a flower shop one day with just a tiny espresso machine in the corner. You know, little roaster. Who knows?
It's growing already.
Two group espresso machine, EK43, a small sample roaster in
Exactly.
the kitchen. Everything in the kitchen.
I like that business idea, actually.
Okay, we'll talk about it after. Yeah.
That's the place to making business, barista camp. You see?
Well, I got this question many times already, and I practice our answer as well. I think so. It's a kind of repetitive answer. I start with the coffee, and I don't have any goal. I don't have a currency goal, like a monetary goal. I have like as a person, as a what I want to do it to achieve some point. But I will die with coffee. I think so. I have many plans that's still at the beginning. So I think I started not in the wrong way, but usually baristas start like trying a coffee, getting head baristas. Then they have the chance to participate in a championship. Maybe they win. Then they go away from the business. They open a coffee shop. Then they are managers. Then they are roasters. They are trainers. Maybe, and then they start to writing books and something like this. I think what I heard. Then they start to doing some science with the plants in the farms, things like that. But I started the other way. So I started as a manager, as a owner, as a barista, and now I'm going to farms. I'm working with my family, with some neighbors. So then I think the next one is to compete. So so it was something the other way, but yeah, my life I think is gonna be really connected with coffee.
I actually really like the way you put it. There's this kind of a career steps in coffee that, like you just kind of explained what they are. But I think it's so much more, and that's what I'm excited about coffee, because there's so many things you can do. Now I'm working with human resources, and there's
An
not
accountant.
so there's so many things you can kind of keep on building on and focus on, and also just on the organizational level of a coffee company. There's still so many. Somehow it's still so new that there's opportunity to grow and to develop. So for me, it looks like coffee is to stay. Then just maybe finding the path where it is within that is the question.
You did just get your first full-time job.
I'd be full time, but it's like now as this role. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Now it's not behind the bar, it's behind the desk.
Do we have any questions from the audience for our panelists? Anybody with some specific
Okay,
questions?
about like searching for an opportunity that Yanis was talking about, answer your calls. You never know who's calling. You never know. And it might be an opportunity. Answer your calls. I never did that.
Oh. I see a question at the back. Hi.
Hello, I'm an accountant as well.
Woohoo!
I'd like to ask you, how did you escape from accounting to coffee? So I'm trying to escape, but it seems to be a little
Like
bit hard.
you're asking who? Me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will stand up, okay? Like my life is one huge accident. My parents didn't even plan me. And I was supposed to be a boy with also difficult name, Jędrzej, not Agnieszka. So this is like my life is one huge accident. And I actually did go from economic study to coffee just by accident. Just my dad pushed me to the job, and I was finishing my first year of studying, and I was supposed to start to look for a job in 2 weeks. But I was sitting in a railway station in a coffee shop with this whipped cream and sprinkled coffee, which I did every day because it's like the coffee you start with. I fall in love with caramel macchiato, actually. It's a pure sweetness if you don't know. And I just asked the barista, do you look for a worker, because I have to find a work for the summer. And he said, yes, you can leave the CV, and I did. And they called me back the next day, and that's how I did get the job. The thing wasn't about, I didn't choose it, it chose me. But I know the persons that actually want to change their life, and this is the moment what Yanis did. You have to look for the opportunity and step down. Because if you're an accountant, you have the full-time job, like salary, good salary, I think. And stepping down means that you will work 300 hours sometimes a month. And your back will hurt, your leg will hurt, but your coffee will be, your hands will be covered with coffee. And you will love that smell on your hands the moment you go to sleep. So that's like, you have to look for this opportunity and just decide to step down. And then it just goes. It just goes. You're spending 10 years in coffee, and you never want to stop. That's how you do it. You just take the opportunity.
Do we have any? There's a question.
I'd like to ask, what way do you feel what you're doing is kind of meaningful for the world? Like, is it like, should I elaborate more? Is it like, okay, like this?
No, I think I kind of know what you mean. Well, in my job, it's kind of nice that I get to connect people and maybe help them further their education. So what I also do is I work with local chapters in different countries, and we try and see where there aren't any active authorized SEA trainers. So these people, they won't have access to coffee education, right? But I mean, as we are all here, I think we all sort of know what the value of education in coffee is. So, and then we try and set up a training there. So I find an AST from somewhere, and we send them to that country to teach a course. So I think that's super, super amazing about my job, is that I get to do that, and these people are like super happy because they finally get to, you know, be trained and have some more knowledge. Is that sort of what you meant? Not really. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what I meant was like impact beyond the coffee world.
No, I have no good impact beyond the coffee world.
Okay, so I think it depends on what do you mean by the coffee world. Like, because I know I don't impact the world. I impact like the what? No, I don't think that I have a like impact on you. I don't even remember most of the names in here. I'm sorry for that, but my brain is not as complicated as Michaela's. Mine is like very small, and I just do patterns in it. But I'm sorry, I can't be serious when I'm stressed. And this is a public performance. Okay, but I think that it depends on the world you're talking about, because like we are actually in my community. Poznań is my community, and I think that I impact this community, the small community, and they might impact more. But for them, I think what I can do, I can share my knowledge like for free. They can, in my coffee shop, my first world, my coffee shop, I told to every employee, if you want to learn anything, just come to me and I will just give it. I won't sell it, I will just give it to you. But I can give it back. I can give them everything they want, like prepare for the competition and all that stuff, but they needed to want it. And they have to share it. Like if you do tell one coffee fact, you sell one coffee knowledge to 3 people and they will sell it to another 3 people, it's already like 9 people that knows that. And it just like spreads. So we cannot impact the world. I cannot impact Peru. I cannot do that. I've never been to Peru, but I think they know my name somewhere in there.
It's South Africa, all the way down. Well, impacting the world, I don't know how. I think you need to be kind of, I don't know, the 2015 World Championship to impact the world a little bit, changing things probably, or inventing things. But what I started doing is to go away from the farms, but bring it back knowledge. I might not be 100 juniors to work with 100 farmers, but I work with many farmers and I bring this value knowledge from this community, and for them it's really hard to come out and to get this, one for the language, second for the time, third for the money. So what I'm doing now is I know how hard it is to get 1 kilo coffee, and when it's not quality coffee, they don't pay this amount of coffee what you guys paid, and you guys said it's 90 points. So decided to do it, I don't know, in 1 year, I would say, I don't know, 1 ton. That costs probably $10,000. They do it half ton. That it's quality. It's not anymore quantity. So because they improve with all this knowledge that I take it, could be with process, or could be with fermentation things. So much knowledge that I already brought. So I'm not impacting in the world, but I'm impacting in a small community. Like she said, she's impacting in their own country or own city. But if every barista will do this, I think it will be more. It will be a really impact in the world, because one person cannot change the world, but one person need to change, and it will multiply like this, and then you can see results, I think.
In my role of human resources, I'm hiring a lot of baristas, and I think that's a huge impact of who is behind the bar. the way they're communicating the story of the coffee that they're serving, the way they're serving people, just the hospitality of it. I'm really proud to work for a company who does direct trade. So actually having baristas that we have hired who resonate with the values and the place that we work for, and makes us a better in the customer service, makes us being able to sell more at the local level, means that we can buy more from the origin, and that means that we can pay more for the quality when the quality also rises. So there's some impact. I don't know if that changes the world, but slowly in the last 10 years as the company has been operating, we've been able to buy more coffee and pay better prices for it. And I think it's the baristas in the bar who are doing the absolute amazing work.
Are there more? You had your hand up earlier, I think. We can come over. It's okay.
So hi, I just wanted to ask because we are all very passionate and sometimes just life happens. So what will you do if this doesn't work out? Because that can happen.
I can still go back to accounting. Like, I don't know. I don't have the plan B for my life. If the coffee life won't work out, I don't know what will happen. But it's like
always tea.
What? There's always tea. Yeah, I drink like 5 teas today and just 1 coffee. So maybe it's the way. I don't know. I don't have this plan B. Like my life is it's so unexpected that I think I will just get what it gives me. Like I'm not even saying that I will stick in the coffee world as a trainer, latte art competitor, or whatever till the end of my life. Sometimes you just don't have a choice. Like sometimes you choose something more important than just your job and your passion, and you just leave it for someone else. So I don't know. I don't have the plan B. I just live like day by day, or like month by month, and just try to take as much as I can. I don't know what would happen without coffee. I don't know.
I think if the job you want in coffee doesn't necessarily work out, coffee will always have your back, because coffee's not going anywhere. Well, that's not necessarily true. The love of coffee isn't going anywhere and is only growing at this point. And personally, I work for a fantastic company, and I'm not necessarily doing what I think I would want to do, but I love the company, and working for the company and helping it grow has been more rewarding than I would have thought.
I don't know if I'm wrong or not, but I think coffee is the second biggest economy in the world.
That's correct.
That's correct. And it was working
for petrol. It's first one.
Yeah.
That's correct as well.
Petrol's going to be over one day. So it's going to be first. I think as well there's another thing from coffee, but that the climate changing probably will affect as well. So coffee might be a little bit more expensive or hard to produce probably with all these things that's happening, like just we talk about Mexico and Puerto Rico. I think I don't have a plan B. I have a plan A. Coffee works, and I'm positive. So it was working for years. So I don't think so. It's going to change that bad. If it's going to change, it's going to change to a specialty, no anymore commodity probably.
We have a question over here.
Thanks. I have been living really far away, but not in a coffee culture at all. And I've been really overwhelmed being at barista camp and having so many people be keen to share knowledge and talk to you and educate you, and there's no pretentiousness, and it's like a really lovely, amazing feeling. And I'm traveling at the moment, and I was just wondering if you had any advice for someone who maybe doesn't have a coffee shop to be able to practice in or do stuff with, to still kind of keep their knowledge growing, because it's just nice to be in a community, Yeah.
I would just say try to seek out events like this. By teaching, I went to my first barista camp as a student, and then I pursued teaching, and that's how I got to meet the owners of Onyx and how I knew that I could move. I moved from the East Coast of the U.S. to the middle of nowhere. So it was,
Maine?
so it was helpful to do that, and also because of relationships I've cultivated here, well, not here, but at camp, I've been able to work other coffee jobs in different parts of the country. Last year I got to go to Brazil and South Korea to teach coffee stuff. And that was all sort of like those were all side gigs. And that was super fun. I forget what the question is.
The question was how you could maintain your coffee or commitment or skills and be part of a community if you don't have a regular job in one.
I would have two answers to that. First of them would be that have your equipment with you and brew for yourself, and just don't brew aimlessly, but kind of measure things and try to always taste what you're brewing, and then that keep practicing at home. And the second one would be to, if you're not really sure where you're going to end up or what you want to do, just work for free. Like, obviously that's not a great for your finances, but it's a great for learning. If you volunteer, if you intern, there's so many people who have been able to find what they like. Maybe you start with something you realize actually wasn't for you, then you do something else, you realize this company or this role is what you really burn for. And often that also lands on a job at the end. So it's a great way without too much attachment both ways to try on things.
Yeah, just to add, I think, as Gabe said, these events are like super valuable, right? And you make friends and you get to share lots of knowledge. Also after camp, because you'll probably make friends here for maybe the rest of your life. But also, you don't always have to go to these really organized events, right? You can also just from like who you are, you can just get some guides, like say, hey, yo, do you want to organize a latte art battle together, or like a cupping or whatever, There's many of these community-driven events that are also very educational.
Can you just imagine that we have the best job in the world? Anywhere you go, you can actually work in coffee, anywhere. As an accountant, I can't do that.
Math is the universal language, but
Yeah.
I think that's about all of our...
The law is different everywhere.
What's that?
The law is different everywhere.
Fair enough. Subtraction and addition or not. I believe that's all the time we have for this. Thank you so much. It was a fun panel. Please give it up for our panelists.